Hey guys, Derby here. I'm back with another video, and this time I'm going to be covering Ifrit hard mode. Now this is the first of the level 50 primal raids, and this is the first primal, I could say, that will grant you your first primal weapon, your first eye level 60 weapon, and you may need this weapon to progress forward into Garuda hard mode, Titan hard mode, and so on and so forth. So this boss fight is all about dodging AoE and knowing the mechanics. There are I'd say three main classes, three people that really bind this entire fight together to ensure that everybody is alive. The first ones are the tanks. Now, the tanks have a really important role in this fight, and that is to always stun when Ifrit is using eruption. So at the beginning of the fight, you'll want the tanks to organise who's tanking and who's stunning, and the tank who's stunning, preferably the paladin, has to stun every single time Ifrit uses eruption. Now, as you can see multiple times throughout this fight, Ifrit has jumped up into the air, and what he does is jumps up into the air and he charges forward in that direction he is facing. So when he does this, you have to make sure that you are taking very careful look at where he is standing, so you completely avoid the attack, otherwise he will hit you for a large amount of damage. Now after he does this, Ifrit will then jump back to the tank, and if you're in the vicinity of the tank, you will get hit for 1000 damage approximately, so make sure you're out of the area. Multiple times Ifrit will use this AoE around the ground, Radiant Plume. As you can see, I just got hit there by a fraction of a hit. Get out of it. And right there, as you just saw, Ifrit now makes clones of himself, and he repetitively does this. So he'll go 2 clones, and then afterwards there'll be 3 clones, and you have to make sure that you avoid every single one. And the best way to avoid this is by sticking at the rim of the fire and running around in a circle to avoid the hits. Or you can stand in between 2 of the clones. Now, this part of the fight where you have the infernal nails is very important. This part is all up to the black mage to use his level 3 limit break, otherwise you will not clear the infernal nails fast enough. So black mage, please use your level 3 limit break at this part of the fight, otherwise the party will wipe. And then, as you can see, Ifrit just uses Hellfire. Now this is the part where the fight gets really tricky, and everybody needs to slowly group up and clump together towards Ifrit, and you'll see why in a second. So once everybody has avoided Ifrit's clones, you'll then all want to go back and start bursting out Ifrit as fast as you can, and making sure to avoid those plumes. And unfortunately throughout this fight, for some reason, I had a really hard time avoiding this. And right there, as you just saw, that was the sole reason why everybody needs to slowly start grouping up. The only way to avoid that AoE is by having everybody to group up towards Ifrit, and he does his attack when he is at about 3/4 of a health left, which you're taking down 3/4. So he then goes back and uses his move where he clones himself 3 times, uses lava plume a few times, and of course he uses eruption many times at this part of the fight. And the tank has to really make sure that he is using his stuns really accurately, otherwise, you know, the party will wipe really fast here, because he continuously over and over again uses eruption. So again, you'll want to avoid Ifrit's attack where it turns into a clone, go back, avoid the plumes, and repeat. Now this fight is really just all about avoiding AoEs, if I'm honest with you. And in this part of the fight, unfortunately, I went to go and do my limit break 3 to kill Ifrit, but unfortunately the tank couldn't stun fast enough, and the eruption got me, and that was partially my fault. So I got the instant res, and again we're back up and fighting Ifrit. And you want to then, you know, just continuously, just like before, avoid the AoEs, avoid these clones. And if you haven't noticed the pattern yet, he does 1 plume which surrounds the field, 1 plume directly in the middle of the room, and then after that he does another plume where the only way to avoid it is by sitting basically right next to Ifrit. And that's the video. So hopefully this has helped you guys, and good luck fighting Ifrit.